What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. Apologies I didn't live stream last night like expected. I got home a little late and I was a little tired. Got wrapped up watching Soy Personified, literally not remember anything, and it got too late. But there's an interesting story, narrative around Alita Battle Angel that seems to have persisted since the very beginning. If you remember, Alita came out roughly the same time as, for example, Captain Marvel, and a lot of people kind of pitted the two against each other, saying, hey, you know, if you want to see a good movie this weekend, go see Alita. There was a mix of people that were generally kind of dunking on Captain Marvel, but then there were also like people who were clearly super fans of Alita and happy to see it come to the big screen. But before I get into today's topic, this video is sponsored by Second Galaxy, and I want to take a minute to thank this video's sponsor, and that is Second Galaxy. Recently, I found a pretty cool new game that I think is worth giving a try. It's simple but fun, a gigantic space MMO. The name of the game is Second Galaxy. It basically is a game that players can build their own spaceships and discover a huge universe. It's really interesting that the background story of Second Galaxy takes place during the 3,000 years time span from 2050, where mankind was able to establish 1,000 light years of civilization using stargates and galaxy communication. Another cool thing in the game is I can switch perspectives between the third person and the first person, making it really fun to look around. The game provides a chance to build unique spaceships for each player, and as the game goes on, my ship gets upgraded to a more and more powerful one. Come and find me in the universe to check out my ship, and there's a link in the description where you can learn more about Second Galaxy. Give it a try. But for some reason, the media has been obsessed with smearing the fans of this film, and I don't exactly understand why. To be totally honest, if it's because it was positioned against Captain Marvel, it's not like Captain Marvel didn't make $1 billion, so it's not like Alita actually took away any sales. People who wanted to see that movie went and saw it. That's just a fact. But it seems like every couple of weeks there's still another article about the fandom of Alita, and you know how if you're a fan of that movie, then you're all of the buzzwords that the media calls anything they don't like. You know, the dreaded, the salt right. You know, I don't understand this. The Independent puts this article out just 2 days ago. The Cult of Alita Battle Angel. It is a smalt right parable or neglected classic. James Cameron's Passover film about a cyborg girl has built a hashtag Alita army of fervent fans. But is it championing the worst or the best of the internet in action? That's right, fans of a movie are something to be feared. They are actors for bad. They are not just simply fans trying to get other people as a part of the fandom. That isn't totally how fandoms work, but you know, what do I know? I don't write for important websites like The Independent. And you've seen a couple people actually cover this. You've seen here on One Angry Gamer. On Monday, July 8th, The Independent ran an article. The article talks about people on Twitter calling themselves the hashtag Alita Army, responding to a tweet from May. People to, quote, name the one movie they felt needed to be seen in the cinema. The tweet was from the official Twitter account of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, so it mattered a bit more than a normal Twitter baloney. Now, why would people suggesting that Alita Battle Angel being a movie that needs to be seen in cinemas newsworthy? Well, the bad guys from WW2, obviously. It's current year. It's always the bad guys from WW2. We need to talk about The Independent and the writer of this article, Adam White. The Independent is a multiple award-winning newspaper that went online only in March of 2016. Adam White is a freelance writer who's written for Huck Magazine, The Telegraph, and many other media ventures. So between Mr. White and The Independent, we have tons of credibility and professionalism, yet the tweet linked in the article is from June and not May. 2 words into the article, and the writer is already making mistakes about a fact that is driving the entire article. Furthermore, the tweet is misrepresented in the article, being a call for people to, quote, name the one movie they felt needed to be seen in cinema. The actual tweet says, What's one movie you think should definitely be seen in a theater? Sure, you can say I'm being pedantic or nitpicky, but the wording changes the meaning of the tweet ever so subtly, and that is probably nitpicky, and the original tweet is here. What's one movie you think should definitely be seen in theaters? And, of course, Alita. Now, maybe there is, an Alita subreddit or something like that, and they ascended upon this tweet to promote the thing that they like. So what? It's like the same reason you end up with boats named Bodie McBoatface or weapons named the Yeet Cannon. This is how the internet works. But the article itself goes on to make some insane accusations about the fandom. Adam White wrote in the article, but like most things on the internet, there's a darker underbelly. The smalt right makes up a not insignificant portion of the Alita's fan base. Now, how would he know that? Is it by who he defines as that? I'm not sure how anyone could know that without any like scientific methodology of finding what people would maybe classify themselves as, and then seeing if they bought a ticket to see Alita. I mean, this is just a blind assertion. And they are encouraged not to speak to fake news outlets about their love for the film. Okay, Adam White makes a huge claim here. His evidence, are you ready for it? I don't think you're ready. A female journalist who has mocked #AlitaArmy, who was mocked on Twitter and YouTube and denied to answer her question of why fans loved Alita Battle Angel so much. Adam, I didn't know this female journalist, but she's not giving you the pee-pee touch for writing an article defending her honor. Ultimately, that's what the article really is, a smear of Alita fans to score good boy points with an unnamed female journalist from an unrevealed U.S. entertainment news site. And if you look at the actual website, it's interesting. The fans call themselves the Alita Army, congregate on YouTube and Reddit. These typically possess an oddball but undeniable sweet reverence for a well-made and at times genuinely fascinating movie. Okay, so you yourself admit that Alita was a good movie, and these are fans of the movie, so what's your problem? I'm starting to, sometimes one angry gamer does jump the shark a bit, but I probably do the exact same thing. But when you make certain assertions in your own article that genuinely prove that you know why people actually like the film, but then you're going to write this article anyway, maybe you are looking for the pee-pee touch. But like most things on the internet, there's a darker underbelly. The bad guys make a not insignificant portion of Alita's fan base, and they are encouraged to not speak to the news outlets for the love of the film. Again, doesn't bother to link any screenshots or any evidence of this. This is just what he says. While others insist that a smear campaign funded by Disney to diminish the chances at award shows and earn middling reviews from critics has prevented the film from becoming the earth-shattering smash it should have been. I think Alita was a fine movie. I'm not sure that I would say it was Academy Award worthy, but this is why I don't do movie reviews. This is why I don't really talk about films that much, because to each their own. Again, like I always say, I enjoyed Paul Blart Mall Cop and Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 and Here Comes the Boom. These are all exceedingly normie, average to bad films, and I enjoyed them just fine. So, whatever. If you're going to spend 2 hours enjoying something, who am I to say you didn't? It goes on to say, it's a murky puddle of conspiracy and hysteria that hasn't just made the Alita fans the most unexpected community of individuals on the internet, but representative of the internet as a whole. Interesting. I'm not sure why they keep making this assertion. I just don't understand it. The fact that it's only made around $400 million at the global box office, that its backers at 20th Century Fox have been absorbed by Disney, and its months since release likely doesn't help, which is unfortunate considering the potential on offer and the slavish devotion it has inspired in so many fans. That Alita has sparked such devotion shouldn't come as a major surprise. So he goes on to, of course, admit that, Alita has a fan base. They're doing what fans do for any film, just like, fans of Brie Larson support Captain Marvel in the face of irrefutable evidence that it's a suboptimal film and a suboptimal actor. So what? They're entitled to do that. I mean, I'm entitled to make fun of it, but that's neither here nor there. Earlier this month, a journalist and now we get to the actual, all these words before this is just, mounting the horse and putting on his white knight gear. Earlier this month, a journalist from the U.S. entertainment news site tweeted a request for Alita fans to share the reasoning behind their devotion, only to be set upon after an old tweet resurfaced when she appeared to mock the fan base. Well, you made fun of them, you got their attention, they found it, and they didn't like you for it. What's wrong with that? That's just normal human reactions to things. I'm not sure it has anything to do with people's political affiliations. She was made the subject of an 11-minute video. Oh, not 11 minutes. Let's see. I'm at 9:30 right now. Let's see if I can top that. In which Alita fans were encouraged to not speak to her or the press themselves. I support this sentiment. I don't think anyone should speak to mainstream media or any of these hacks at any of these outlets because we've never seen them be honest. There's just no examples of them reaching out to the general public and then being honest about it. Well, I'm sure there are, but there are overwhelming numbers of examples of where they twist the words and they lie to people to get their takes. We saw this with CNET. We've seen this with literally every interview Kotaku Polygon's done. I mean, there's endless information around that. Then she apologized. If the tactics used in response from outlandish conspiracy claims to YouTube antagonism to the malicious targeting of a female journalist, why does it matter that she's female, by the way? This is somebody, it's like saying, hey, anyone who uses Reddit is a moron, in my opinion. And then, 6 months later, tweeting out, hey, can you guys tell me why you like Reddit? I'm curious. Like, no. I mean, people are going to find that, and they're going to roast you for it. That's how it works. The internet is forever. The malicious targeting of the female journalist, I feel familiar to anyone who has spent as little as 5 minutes exploring the modern bad guys, then you would be correct in spotting the crossover. Okay, so there's no proof here. This is just a flat-out smear piece between the right-wing internet and elements of the Alita fandom. Yeah, because the left doesn't have any witch hunts at all. That totally doesn't happen. Oh, wait, that's all they do on Twitter. That's literally the tool they most fervently support for their witch hunts and their faux outrage. For Alita, Battle Angel has been the battleground society's current culture wars for much of 2019, and just as jarringly nonsensical an arena as much of it as it deserves. Again, upon its release in March, Alita was positioned as the right-wing alternative to Captain Marvel. What? Any evidence, please? Is there any evidence to the things that you are writing? Have you seen, I mean, could you link? Why don't you link any of these things? You just look like a complete liar when you don't link any evidence. And the latter, a lightning rod for aggravated MRAs and misogynists to expect their respective rages at the world. With its proudly feminist marketing and star Brie Larson, always eager to talk about the importance of film and media, Captain Marvel was designed, quote, pandering SJW crap by Jack Posobiec. I don't know how he identifies politically. Maybe he calls himself that. I doubt it. I just, based on the fact that this article is basically built on a house of lies. Leading him to popularize previously under the radar campaign known as the Alita Challenge, which I remember seeing floating around Twitter for a while. I never really followed it. Curiously, it's baffling to talk of Alita as an apolitical movie. In truth, this is always, okay, so now we know how this person is like, they held the everything's political and refuse to understand why people separate the difference between movie having political undertones and the movies who pander and preach. Featuring none of the fetishism of Captain Marvel, blah, 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 blah. I don't understand. Its politics aren't subtle, but become even more blunt when articulated by cast and crew. Yeah, I mean, everybody in Hollywood seems to be obsessed with politics. The problem, as I've said, is they get millions of followers on Twitter and they think everyone gives a damn what they have to say, when really they are, of course, here to entertain us, and that alone for 95% of people. Like, I literally don't care what anybody in Hollywood has to say about anything. If I follow anybody on Twitter, it's to get news about movies or projects they're working on. I can't be alone in this. But I don't know. Maybe it's because these movies are coming out on DVD that people seem to want to rekindle this. I don't see any problem with fandoms supporting movies This is like literally the most wholesome thing you can do as a fan of a film and try to promote it. You're working for free to sell tickets. This should, I don't understand the problem. But ultimately this article was just a Trojan horse to white knight for this journalist and to just use modern buzzwords because I don't know, because reasons. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.